Suppose that I'm handed a graph and I need to be able to determine where f of x is increasing and where f of x is decreasing. The word where means for which x is. My answer will be a list of intervals of x values. Two things. One, you want to answer with the biggest intervals possible. You can perhaps tell that from x equals -1 all the way up to x equals 0, this graph is going uphill, but I could answer with a much bigger interval, so I want to get the biggest intervals possible. The second thing is you should always be reading your graphs from left to right in the direction of x getting bigger, the direction of x increase. A lot of folks think that you should be reading from the center, and so it feels like this graph is going uphill on this left section over here, and perhaps this arrow kind of makes it feel that way. But if we're reading from left to right, this graph is actually going downhill on this very end section over here, so we want that to be a decreasing section. So I'm going to color this graph red if it's decreasing and green if it's increasing. So I can tell that it's going downhill all the way down to, I don't know, x equals -4.9 or whatever, and then it goes uphill for a while, and then it goes downhill, and then it goes uphill again. Now the arrows at the end mean that we are supposed to assume that the graph continues in this pattern forever and ever. And so I'm going to say that this graph is increasing forever and ever over here at the positive infinity direction, and that it continues in this pattern over here. So I'm going to say that this graph is decreasing from negative infinity to negative, I don't know, 4.8, I guess, not 4.9. Negative infinity to negative 4.8. And there's a second interval, 0.9 to 4.9. And that means that this graph is increasing from negative 4.8, that's x equals negative 4.8 to 0.9, and then x equals 4.9 forever and ever and ever. So I say comma infinity.